Tesla Powerwall 3 is flooding the market. But is it really worth the hype? We've just installed these two Tesla Powerwall 3s, and to be honest, it's been a bit of a headache. So in this video, we're going to break down the full install, compare the stats between the Powerwall 3 and the Powerwall 2, and give you our brutally honest opinion as to whether the Powerwall 3 is any good. Make sure you like and subscribe, and let's get into it.
The chosen location of the Powerwalls are going to be here. We'll talk a bit more about the expansion of them later, but basically we're just trying to get this surface as level as we can because we've got some slabs. Because they're going to have expansion packs on, they have to be on the floor basically. Their feet have to be on the floor so the others can stack in front of it. So yeah, we're just going to dig this out, then we've got some slabs to put in. We're going to cement them in, and then yeah, we'll give us a nice flat surface for the batteries. I feel like I'm going to rip my 𝐒𝐮𝐫 today. I've got a plan. If I dig it this way and chuck it over that side, eventually Ruben will have to clear it up anyway and chuck it that side. Need like a groundsperson with a digger, would be lovely. If only we knew one.
One big difference between the Powerwall 3 and the Powerwall 2 is that Powerwall 3 has a built-in solar inverter, which means that you can connect the DC cables from the solar panels directly into the Tesla Powerwall 3. Tesla Powerwall 2, on the other hand, was just an AC coupled solution. It didn't have a solar inverter built in.
Just in by the mains here, and I've just spoken through with the customer. Location for the gateway. Originally, I was going to stick it up here, so it's up out the way of everything in the garage, but the customer's informed me he's going to build a wall across to this point, splitting the garage. So we're going to avoid putting it there, and we're going to stick it down here in this little gap, but the lads are just around the side of the garage digging out, putting some slabs down. So shoot around there, have a look what they're doing, and I'll catch in with you in a bit.
So while we're digging, we thought we'd uplift ourselves with some music. I don't know if you can hear it. I don't want to blow your horn, sounds in the kitchen at night. What did you even search for this? I've never heard this song in my life. A family of snails. 5 of them in one footstep.
Boom. Path done. A little bit wobbly, but considering how much of a faff that was, it's not too bad, to be honest. Should be good enough for the batteries to just rest on, and once they're all on, it should kind of compress the slabs in a bit. And now it's just getting the brackets out, putting them on the wall, and then we'll get the batteries on in a bit.
Another difference between Powerwall 2 and 3 is the charge and discharge rate. Powerwall 2 had a maximum charge and discharge rate of 5 kilowatt, and the Powerwall 3 has the same charge rate of 5 kilowatts, but the maximum discharge rate is up to 11.04 kilowatts, meaning you can cover more household loads such as an electric shower, hob, or even charging an EV from your Tesla Powerwall 3.
Okay, there's currently a earth rod here, and this is solely for the Tesla wall charger. So for the gateway and the batteries as backup, we're actually having to put in this conduit disc, which you see us installing most jobs here. So yeah, we're just going to dig a hole out here in front of the earth rod and bury it. It's got to be about 600 deep, but we do have to be careful because the main incoming gas is just here, and the main incoming electricity is obviously where Lee's working just behind you. So somewhere around this area it will be coming in, so it's just yeah, digging slowly and gentle, and just keeping your eyes out and spotting things. Right, scrap that last clip because the incoming supplies, I think we just think it's too close, and it's rock solid here because like driveways are normally rubble, so it's basically cement down there. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it where we dug the path, because we've dug there already. We know it's a lot softer, so we're going to put it there and then just run some 16mm earth up and over the garage with the other cables. It'll just be a lot easier that way.
Before I stick the gateway on the wall, what I've just had to do is the router's the other side of this. So I've rerun a new cable up for his outhouse, and I've chucked one through, it's still on the drum, and this one is going to go over to the battery. Once the gateway's on, I can start wiring it up and I'll basically get all the internals wired, and I'll just leave the tails here, and then when he's ready for a shutdown, we'll shut the power down, connect it all up, and then turn his power back on. Just leave sort of little disruptions possible.
Sometimes it goes really easy, sometimes it don't. Ah.
Handy.
That'll ding dang do.
While I'm waiting for the cable to turn up for the power walls, I'm just getting the gateway ready. So this is the first time I've actually done one flipped upside down. So this internal part, you can have either way round. So you can either come in from the bottom or in from the top. And on this one, it just makes sense to bring everything in from the top. We're inside a garage, so I'm not too fussed about that. We've got this bit of DIN rail on the top. We've put a new main switch in here. So that will come through here, and then that feeds these two breakers. And these two breakers are going to be doing both of our power walls. So we'll have our leader power wall and then the second.
So just one of the cons of installing the Tesla is the weight of it, because it's not separate units, it's all just one big clump, and it weighs 130 kilos, so it's a pretty big weight, and when you're installing them in sort of awkward locations like this, it can be a bit of a faff to hold on to it, because there's not really too many places to kind of get a grip on it. But yeah, that's just one con of it.
Another difference between Powerwall 3 and Powerwall 2 is the battery chemistry. The Powerwall 2 was nickel manganese cobalt or NMC battery technology, whereas Powerwall 3 is LFP or lithium iron phosphate. Now LFP is an overall better battery technology, and it is safer too, so there is an improvement there.
Now going to fit the batteries. We've actually had to remove the guttering because as you've probably seen, it's quite a narrow gap, so we've removed that because we're manually going to have to carry them. You can get things like lifts and that, but obviously the access we've got, there's no way you're getting anything down there, so we're going to have to carry them. We'll see how it goes.
Another big difference between Powerwall 2 and 3 is the weight and size. The Powerwall 2 was 114 kilos, but the Powerwall 3 weighs a whopping 130 kilos, which is why you're about to see Luke and Ruben struggling as they try to lift it into place.
So this goes like that.
Oh, you're doing diagonal?
And then this will go like that. I think that's how it goes.
Yeah, we'll hope so, we'll see. Biceps are too big, they don't fit. I can't get it. Mine's leaning over towards you. Ah, yeah. I got you. You good? Yeah. Right, I've got this end, yeah. Then rest it on this next clamp below. I was going to say something. You're like, the clam's heavy as we're lifting 180 kilo battery. If you just hold it like that, I'll pull these straps towards me a bit more. You got it?
Yep, okay. You want to get yours in. Your arms in.
I don't see how this, I'm sorry, I can't see this working. You see us headbutting each other when we go to lift it.
It is pretty heavy. I'm going to go one lower.
You're going to go one lower? You're just taking mine off me. You're going low, but you stand up the same height.
Ready?
Right, go. Oh, it's not too bad, I can do it. Now we've just got even wider arms to fit through the gap.
I'm supposed to squeeze through this gap.
So there you go.
Mate.
Not a chance.
I'm getting squished.
You're getting dripped on that. Just try and get through a bit more. Brilliant invention this. 10 out of 10, definitely recommend. I mean, I think we found it on Temu, so probably explains it.
So now I've got all the cables here ready, so I'm going to do a shutdown. Another con about this system is I'm not a huge fan of the gateway. It's quite small compared to a lot of the other gateways that are out at the moment, which you might think's a good thing, but for wiring it can just make it a bit hard work. And I don't like the fact that it's like a plastic material, especially when it's basically acting as a consumer unit. Some other manufacturers have got nice solid metal enclosures.
My back.
No, we do this one. Lean down and do them.
Yeah, how about that? Looks pretty bang on to me.
Like I said earlier, the weight is a massive con of this as well. Like, there's nowhere to hold it, and it's massive, and it's 130 kilos. I mean, like, it's ridiculous.
I don't know if they design it that way on purpose. If you'd think of like a weight of that, they can have like an internal handle or something like that. Because I know with them, you can buy the handles. You can only buy them from Tesla direct, and the same as their trolley lift. So obviously they must design them that way to make them difficult to hold, sort of thing. There's no grab handles inside or anything, so just moving around is actually a bit of a nightmare.
One similarity between Powerwall 2 and 3 is the storage capacity. They're both exactly the same at 13.5 kilowatt hours.
So we've put the first battery on. It was a breeze, as you saw probably. So we're just going to put the second one on now. This one's a bit easier because it's on the ground level. So we're just going to lift this up. Willie's going to pull the clam out and then use these really efficient straps again. Go. Get it over that strap. If you buy these Tesla straps for $14.99, no, $1,499, it'll make your job so much easier. It's like a nice little handle here. That's all it needs. Oh, there goes my tendons. You're getting soaked. Right, want to roll. Stop when you want to.
So now the lads have mounted both the power walls. What we've done is done this one as far over to the right as we can. The first one's just under there, just getting a bit covered from the damp weather at the moment. So the two expansion packs, when we get them, they can go in these two gaps and they'll be linked to the leader. If you carry out the Tesla training, it's quite good on their website. The expansions at the moment, they can only be connected to the leader battery. They can't come off of followers. If they're going to have future expansions, they can either be stacked or they'll have to come off the leader. If they are stacked, the one that's got the inverter in has to be moved all the way to the front and the expansions have to go behind it. Another pro about this system is it's very IP rated and it's submersible up to about this height. So this whole bottom is sealed, and then obviously you've got the inverter up here. I wouldn't recommend submersing it in water, but at least being outside, you know it's going to be safe.
We've got both batteries up. Most of the inside work is done. It's just got to be the cable runs tomorrow. Overall, similar to the last ones, just a lot faffier to lift up and put into place. I prefer, to be honest, like a 𝐒𝐮 system or something like that. That's modular and it's got handles and stuff. It's just easier to sort of move about and put into place. But we'll see when it's all booted and seeing the system actually working.
Right, it's day 2. Me and Luke are back, just pulling in these 10 mils, trying to get in quick because it just absolutely poured down. We'll get these two pulled in and we'll talk about the batteries in a sec.
Wet and muddy, and a bit of about 20 minutes. It's gonna be a long day, long day.
With the Powerwall 3, it's the same as a Powerwall 2, so it's 13.5 kilowatts of storage. At the moment, you can have a maximum of 7 units, so that's 94.5 kilowatts of storage. You can put 4 off of the gateway, and then the leader can have 3 expansion packs.
So while Lee's in there, I'm down Diagon Alley, clipping this cable. I opted for all-round band. Normally we use like D-line clips or something like that, but where we've got our 2 cables, we've got an existing cable and we've got 2 data to runs, it would just be a bit crazy to do like 4 or 5 rows because the spacing, they'd all have to space out that much. So as long as it looks nice and neat, which obviously in my opinion I think it does, clip it on the top along with these ones. As you can see, they've already clipped some other cables there. We'll drop one of the cables down to this first Tesla Powerwall, and then the second one and this one from the socket which we spoke about earlier in the video, or the fuse spur for the garden lights, they'll both continue down there and then drop down to the second Powerwall. Right, I've got the majority of the cable clipped. This is the one feeding the first battery, the one feeding the second one's over there, and both the data, the internet and the RS485s are over there. He's having expansion packs, but he's having them to the side instead of in the front. Basically, they come with like a pre-made lead, so they can't be too far away from each other. Where we've got to mount these isolators, because of the 10mm armoured, to get the nice bending radius round for the bottom of the isolator, it's going to be a bit tight. Obviously, it'll work, but it's just trying to position them correctly this time because we don't want to come back in the future, put these expansion packs in and find the isolators are too far over. So yeah, I'm just going to mark them up and mount both these isolators now. Also, these tracer pencils, I've had a couple of these now, and we're not sponsored by them at all. Bought these myself. I've had 2 of them, and I've probably lost them within the first week of having them. And that was down to the casing of it. They put this extra little bit, so when you clip it into your trousers, now that's really hard. Before, it just fall out my pocket and it'll be on my sofa or in my van somewhere or on the floor and I'd lose it. So yeah, they've changed them a lot and they're actually really good now.
Tom's turned up to give us a hand just because we was falling a bit short in the afternoon. He's just round helping Luke do one of the other Powerwalls.
So what the Powerwall 3 now has is a higher discharge rate. So the Powerwall 2 was 5 kilowatts as a maximum discharge rate. And now the Powerwall 3 has gone up to a maximum discharge of 11.04. Now, there is a bit of a caveat with that. Depending on what inverter size you choose will limit the discharge of the Powerwall 3. And that could be in relation to what the G99 comes back with. There could be a limit on that or various other factors. So when you see the discharge rate of 11.04, that may change actually on the install. And that sometimes is just out of everyone's control really, apart from the D&O, and they're really fun. Now, in terms of from an install point of view, there is a couple of things to note. The Powerwall 2 was heavy enough, it was around 114 kilograms. The 3 has now gone up to 130. Realistically, installation wise, you're not going to wall mount these up high like you used to be able to do. I know it's not a massive difference, but with the Powerwall 3, if you just look down here, you actually get feet now, which you never used to get with the 2, which in all honesty makes installation actually quite easy. What they have done though is change the Powerwall front. So the old Powerwall 2, what was a little tip and trick in the trade was to use glass suckers on the front of it, and then you could lift it onto the bracket. With the Powerwall 3, the door is now completely separate, and the screws that fix the door onto the Powerwall 3 are a one-time use screw, which is a bit odd. Because of this, manoeuvring the Powerwall 3 is quite difficult, and I must admit the boys have done really well getting them down this alley and getting them fixed to the wall, because that wouldn't have been an easy task. There are some pros, there are some cons on the install side of things, but there is a lot of benefits for the consumer side of it. As I say, you've got no separate costing for an inverter now. You can plumb it straight into the Powerwall 3. And that's a variety of aspects. So if you've got different aspects on your roof, you can use each of the MPPTs to do north, east, west, or south, east, west, whatever you want. The other thing that is different with the Powerwall 3 is what they call the tacho system, but what it is the brains of the operation. The brains of the operation on the Powerwall 2 was within inside the gateway. So you used to basically send all your communications into the gateway, and then the Powerwall 2 would act as a receiver to that information. Now all the information, although it still has to go through a gateway 2, actually comes into the Powerwall 3. There are still some design flaws that I could pick out from Tesla, and what's quite nice with Tesla is they do say that they listen to what we're actually saying as installers. The couple of bits that are issues for me is, so this is your DC connection on the right hand side. If you're working on this and you're working on it and you're installing it like this outside, and we had live DC going into this, obviously all them terminals will be live, and it would be very easy for, as you're working, as I'm crouching down now, to put your hand on this, and obviously you'd get a DC bolt, which they're not particularly very pretty. So there's a couple of things that I think they could have thought of from the off.
Okay, so I've just finished putting the isolator on. Lee's just done some testing, R1, R2 and a ZS of it. Tom's just finished off that side, and all that's left to do now is just run an Ethernet between the first Powerwall and the second Powerwall.
In the process of commissioning the Powerwalls, this is done through the Tesla One app. I've always had issues with the Tesla app, especially on the installer side. I've never thought it was fantastic, but it's getting better. They are improving it slowly. We've connected it all up. It's picked up both the Powerwalls straight away, done the mandatory update. You then have to wait for the gateway to update, and then the 2 Powerwalls to update as well. It's a bit of a lengthy process, just sort of sitting around looking at your phone. So trying to use the time wisely and getting all our battery warning stickers, our isolators labelled up using the Brother printers for that, and they are the nuts. The very last thing we'll do is put the doors on. The reason being, as I said before, they're one-time use screws, or from Tesla, they're one-time use screws. Now, this is a bit of an issue with installation. Now, if you've got a customer who's very involved with the install and wants to know what you're doing, which is absolutely fine. At the end of the day, they're spending a lot of money with you installing something at their house. You do have to be really careful and cautious with the fact that this is now live. This is now a live battery. We know that, but customers can sometimes put their hands in places where you don't want them to, into bits of equipment, just being interested without knowing what's live and what's not live. So you just need to be cautious of that. It's a bit different to the Powerwall 2. The Powerwall 2 was all tucked in the side, so they've changed it to the front to provide a bit of an easier access for the installer. In my opinion, there should be covers on this that you can just slot on, so then I could just put these covers on, walk away from here, go and get something from the van, and know that the customer's not going to come over and accidentally give them a bolt.
The other difference between Powerwall 3 and Powerwall 2 is the round trip efficiency. Powerwall 2 had a 90% round trip efficiency, whereas Powerwall 3 has a 97% round trip efficiency. And what that really means is that you get more energy out of charging and discharging your Powerwall 3 versus the Powerwall 2. It's a more efficient battery overall.
So yeah, they're on, they're nice and neat. We don't normally like sticking stickers like this on them, but obviously we're outside and there's nowhere else to stick them basically. My personal opinion, I like the front of these a lot better. I actually like the size as well. They look a bit more industrial. Some people prefer the old ones, some people prefer the new ones. What do you prefer personally as well? The only thing I don't like is the lifting of them and putting them in position, purely because there's no handles. Other than that, I think they look absolutely great with the metal on the side and the glass front. I also like that these are replaceable. On the old one they weren't, but these, if they get damaged, scratched or even smashed, you can just buy these separately and replace the front.
Now you might wonder why we've left such a massive gap between these two batteries, and there's a good reason for that. We've left space for the DC add-on modules to be installed later on. They'll be available very soon, and we'll be connecting them into this DC port on the side, and 2 additional DC add-on modules will be coming to add even more storage capacity to this system. So make sure you like and subscribe if you want to stay for that video, which will be coming soon.
And that's a wrap. 2 Powerwall 3s installed, plenty of space, ready for expansion packs to go on at a later date. So the Powerwall 3, it is a great product. In terms of being better than the Powerwall 2, yes, because it's got that inverter built in, but at the same time, I did love the Powerwall 2 as an AC battery system. I know I keep talking about it, there's no point now, they're gone, we're on the 3. So yeah, looking forward to installing more throughout the year. When the expansion pack comes out, I think that will be the game changer for Tesla. Tesla really need to push that product to get it out, so then we can expand battery, because at the end of the day, people are using more energy now. That's us out. Remember to like, follow and subscribe. See ya.